Monopoly. How will you know a monopoly if you see one? Think back to the characteristics. Monopoly is a market structure characterized by a single seller selling a unique product in the market. Monopoly firms also represent the industry because there are no other firm in the industry. Furthermore, consumer can't find any other substitute of the products. This is because monopoly firms' goods have no other substitutes. It means that the consumer have no other choice but to buy the product which is produced by the monopolies. Therefore, since there are no close substitutes, the monopoly nowadays does not face any competitions in the industry. Moreover, monopoly also have a significant barriers to entry. These barriers are so high, in fact, there is no other producer can enter the industry. What kind of barriers could there be that would keep competitors out? One of the example is patent. Patent would keep others out, at least until the patent expired, or unless you sell the right to use the idea to other people. So, for example, you have a large bookstore that owns the only book distributor. Then there is no other way for other bookstore to get the inventory. In other words, sole ownership of a key resource can prevent competitions. Therefore, this does conclude that factors like government license, ownership of resources, copyright and patent, and high starting costs make an entity a single seller of goods. All of these factors restrict the entry of other sellers in the market.
So, what about costs? Extremely high costs would keep many other producers out. In fact, the case of extraordinarily high feed costs, you can get a situation where economies of scale kick in, and you are actually better off to have only one producer. Look, think about power generation plants. It it's not only costs about gazillion dollars to build the plant itself, but then you need the power grid, all those towers and lines to deliver the electricity. So, if there is just one company incurring all those upfront costs, that firm can spread the cost out over a large quantity of production, and the cost per unit ends up being very low. But if you break this company up, creating 10 smaller firms that would compete with each other, each firm must repeat these initial costs, yet has 1 over 10 of the customers. In case like this, with huge economies of scale, it's actually more efficient to have only one producer. As a natural outcome of the cost structure, this would be a natural monopoly.
A natural monopoly is a type of monopoly that exists due to the high startup costs or powerful economies of scale of conducting a business in a specific industry. A natural monopoly usually exists when it's efficient to have only one company or service provider in an industry or geographic location. It can arise in industries that require unique raw materials, technology, or similar factors to operate. Why natural monopolies are allowed? Natural monopolies are allowed when a single company can supply a product or service at a lower cost than any potential competitor and at a volume that can service an entire market. Since natural monopolies use an industry's limited resources efficiently to offer the lowest unit price to consumers, it is advantageous in many situations to have a natural monopoly.
For example, the utility industry is a natural monopoly. Natural monopoly has a same characteristic as a poor monopoly and a main discussions feature. Natural definition. Situation where it makes sense for only one good business to provide a goods or services. For example, utility, electricity company, water, sewers, and gas. Economical scale water. More consumer, more efficient as high fixed costs are spread out. The utility monopolies provide water, sewer services, electricity, and energy such as natural gas and oil to cities and towns across the country. The startup costs associated with established utility plants and the distributions of their product are substantial. As a result, the capital cost is a strong deterrent for potential competitors. Also, society can benefit from having utilities as natural monopolies. Multiply utility company would not be feasible since there would need to be multiple distribution networks such as sewer lines, electricity poles, and water pipe for each competitor. Since it's economically sensible to have utility operations as natural monopolies, government allowed them to exist. However, the industry is heavily regulated to ensure that consumers get fair pricing and proper service.
More modern examples of natural monopolies include social media platforms, search engines, and online retailing. Companies such as Facebook, Google, and Amazon have built natural monopolies for various online services due in large part to first mover advantages, network effects, and natural economies of scale involved with handling large quantity of data and information. Unlike traditional utilities, this type of natural monopolies so far have gone virtually unregulated in most countries. Companies that have a natural monopoly may sometimes exploit the benefit by restricting the supply of a good, inflating prices, or by exerting their power in damaging way other than through prices. For example, a utility company might attempt to increase electricity rates to accumulate excessive profit to owner or executive, or an internet service platform might use its monopoly power over information, online interaction, and commerce to exercise undue influence over what people can see, say, or sell online. Regulation over natural monopolies are often established to protect the public from any misuse by natural monopolies.